Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Afterschool podcast. My name is Mr. Messer, but you can call me Rob, and I am so privileged and excited to be joined by the one, the only realtor, content creator, pillar of Charleston news, Mr. Bill Olson. Bill, thanks for staying after school. How are you?
Well, I am wonderful. Thanks for having me.
So excited. So much to get into. I have so many different interests, and when I saw you and dug a little bit deeper, I'm like, wow, like I really think I could vibe with this guy. And we had a chance to chat, and I, did a little bit more research and like just love what you're doing. I can't wait to get into your story. And with that, I'd like to start at the beginning here. Can you give everybody a quick overview on who you are and what you do now, and then a quick cliff notes on who Bill Olson was before you ever got into Charleston real estate, content creating, the whole deal?
Right now, spoiler alert, we'll start at the end. I am a Charleston real estate agent. Like you said, I'm a content creator. It's kind of how I've built my business is through content creation with Instagram. And for about 5-6 years now, have one of the largest YouTube channels all about relocating to the Charleston area. I'm a dad. I'm a nerd. I'm a whiskey lover. That's who I am now. Those are my hobbies, like in that order. I'm a father, I'm a husband, then I'm a realtor, and then everything else.
Then a whiskey connoisseur.
And then, yeah.
So talk to us. That's where we are now. We're gonna dive
That's
really
where
deep
we are
into
now.
that. But for context is everything. Give us a quick overview on who you were as a kid. Where'd you grow up? Quick little 55-second cliff notes, I call it.
Cliff Notes. All right, here we go. I was born and raised in Youngstown, Ohio, Northeast Ohio, between Cleveland and Pittsburgh. I graduated high school and went to the University of Cincinnati. Realized I didn't want to live in Ohio, so I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. I lived there for about 6 years. While I was there, I met my now wife, who was living in Northern Virginia, D.C. area. She moved to Charleston. I chased her down here. We got married. We had 2 kids. We're on our 3rd house. I'm not going anywhere. I was a bartender server at the time, and she worked for the MUSC, the hospital. So we were like ships in the night. She would get home from work at 4 and I would leave for work at 3:30. So we never saw each other. So that called for a change. Didn't have a degree, didn't want to sit at a desk. So decided that real estate would be something I would try. And that was about 10 years ago.
Mm,
Was that fast enough?
that was very thorough and fast.
Okay.
You were
You
a
gave me
pro.
55 seconds, so I went for it.
I'm an educator slash was an educator was where we could get into that another time.
Always are.
But thinking back on, when you were a young Bill, what kind of kid were you in school? What
I
bucket would you
was
put yourself in?
average. My
Were you,
mom
were
would say
you,
above average, but I was like, it was just yours. Like, I wasn't the sports jock. I wasn't like super nerdy. I was like right in the middle. I played in the orchestra. Like, I was just like your average kid.
just kind of blended in?
Just,
Like
yeah, just
nothing
I
too
could be friends
flashy?
with anybody. Like, just normal. Like, I wasn't very exciting.
So flash forward now, you're creating content. You're a real estate agent, which you need a vast array of interpersonal skills, communication skills to do that. Content creation, which we'll get into, that's a whole other ball of wax. Were there any clues like in your childhood that you would be so outgoing, like, delivering news? Like, did you host any parties? Did you like giving information? Were you in the school paper? Anything there that would say, oh, like that's funny because he's doing this now?
Um, Not really. I've always been outgoing. Um, I have ADHD, so that is probably a large part of it. That's a whole nother story that we could get into. That didn't come into play until about 3 years ago when I got diagnosed. So we won't talk about like that's like I said, that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
But like looking back on my life, knowing now, I was like, oh, things make a lot of sense. And this industry that I'm in and what I do makes a lot of sense with looking back, like knowing how my brain works and still figuring out how my brain works makes a lot of sense. And not just like who I was and how I was as a kid, but like how I am now. I am standing at a desk because I can't sit down. I need to always be doing something different. And with the multiple avenues of content creation, whether it be reporting on the news on Instagram, making my YouTube videos, I have a newsletter that I put out. I'm meeting with someone in 2 weeks about starting a podcast. It's I just need to be doing something that interests me at all times. And if it doesn't, I mean, if you've got ADHD, if it doesn't interest you, it's never getting done.
Mm, I
And that has helped me in everything that I do. And it's a driving factor of why I do what I do as well.
I love that, and I'm right with you in the same boat. Diagnosed late, within the last year actually, but I always knew, ever since I became a little bit more self-aware in my late 20s, early 30s, everything's like very similar to you, started making sense. A lot of people tend to focus on, I'm just going to stay hang here for a minute. A lot of people tend to focus on the negatives, like the con column when we're talking about this. Having it, what have you noticed has been a strength, like a superpower, dare I say?
Yeah. For me, it's the creativity side. I've always been a very creative person, has always been my outlet. I know some people can focus on numbers, some people can, everyone kind of has their thing that excites them. Mine has always been that creativity. Organization and focus is not my specialty. That is not my superpower. But, that's kind of why I've gravitated with how I run my business, because it's all a very creative outlet that keeps me excited.
So what year did you come to Charleston? I missed that. You and your
I
wife?
moved to Charleston in 2013.
2013.
May of 2013, so coming up on 11 years.
And all right, so tell us where in that journey, maybe it wasn't until you got to Charleston, but when did you get into the real estate game?
2015.
2015. So you're here. And was it the city in itself? Did that push you because you saw the writing on the wall of what Charleston is and was about to become, or was it in you that you just wanted to take on this field?
Neither. I had I had seen friends make, it's kind of a joke in the real estate industry that like you go from bartending to real estate. Like that's just like a natural progression. So I was very stereotypical in that. And honestly, there was really no like, oh, this is my calling. This is like what I need to do. It was I don't want to work until 1, 2 in the morning anymore. But I don't want a 9 to 5 desk job. And that was kind of the driving factor for it. And took a chance. I cut down my hours at the restaurant so I could still have some income, because being self-employed, you're not guaranteed income. And over the course of about 8 or 9 months, slowly cut back 3 nights, 2 nights, 1 night. We can get into the story about, got a text message that I got fired. And then it was like all in.
So, why? I'm curious. Why is that? Why is that a cliche chain of events going from bartending to real estate? Like I have my own
I
assumptions.
don't think it's I don't think it's so much of a cliche because it's actually true. It's just, if you've ever worked in the restaurants, I worked in the restaurants for over 15 years, and it's, you're on your feet, you're sometimes treated like garbage by people, and like you just kind of need to get out. A lot of people either they don't have degrees or they don't want to go into the field that their degree is in, and it's still sales, but it's interpersonal. It's a lot of the skills that you gain in bartending and waiting tables are just interpersonal skills. And when you go into, almost all sales jobs are, and people want to buy from people. They want that personal relationship. And I think that's one of the things that helps people that have that background. Because your job is to talk to people and be genuinely interested in people, even if you don't like them, when you're bartending. When you go into real estate, the goal is always to get to that point where you don't have to talk to the people that you don't want to. So, like what's the definition of success? I always say it's being able to pick and choose who I work with.
Yeah,
if I didn't like you and I'm like, you know what, we're not a good fit, I don't need this sale. Bye, Rob. Like, you can go find someone else.
Right.
I mean, you seem like a good guy. I wouldn't do that to you, but like that's kind of like, I think that is a lot of that transition. That there's a lot of parallels. And you have to play psychologist, psychiatrist, divorce attorney. People just dump all their stuff on you in both industries.
I bet. I bet. I've never been a realtor, but as a bartender, I do know that. And it takes a unique individual to be able to adapt to those different people. At some point you started a YouTube channel, which is I think you're at 6,000 subscribers now, so congratulations on that. Talk to us about the origin story.
6,500, but nobody's counting.
Tell us about the origin story of that.
So, one of the things about real estate is there's 1.5 million ways to do this business. There's 2 million ways to get in trouble and do this business. I tried a lot of the open houses, door knocking, cold calling. I hated all of it. And then I started kind of making videos like on Facebook, and I really enjoyed it. And then I met a few agents who had kind of dabbled in YouTube, and they're like, yeah, like make videos and, people watch them and they call us. And I was like, oh, that sounds fun. Let me do that. So I started, I kind of just went all in. So a lot of people thought I was absolutely insane because no one else was doing it. And now everybody is because people started realizing it was working. So I was a very early adopter in it. And it was, like I said, like it was that creativity. It's fun. I like it. I get to be me. I don't have to pretend to be someone else. So I can make videos and I don't have to dress up in a suit and tie because I don't wear a suit and tie. Like all summer, I'm usually in like flip flops, shorts, and a golf shirt. That's how I make my videos. So that when people, they want to do business with me, who I am. And who I am is who I show up in those videos every single week. So it's not like, oh, hey, here's this guy. I'm expecting someone to show up in a suit and tie, and he shows up in shorts and flip-flops. It's no, we're expecting Bill. Bill sometimes wears a hat. Bill sometimes swears. He loves dad jokes.
Yeah.
And that was an amazing thing about YouTube, was it not only allowed me to inform a wide audience that was searching for this information, that was seeking out this information, but it also allowed them to learn to know me, like me, and trust me. The first time someone ever said, when I asked them, do you have any other questions for me? And he said, no, we've watched all your videos multiple times. We pretty much know everything about you. Was this very weird moment of kind of terrified, but it was also really cool. I'm not terrified of it anymore, but it's like when someone you've never met says, no, we pretty much know everything about you. Kind of weird.
Yeah, I'll say.
But that amount of trust that it brought, that they trusted me to call me because they watched my videos, they liked me, they wanted to work with me. And now I hear it all the time. And I love it. Kind of feeds my ego a little bit.
Well, like you're right on the ball. And there's so many different layers to this, but if someone and a lot of people are moving here, I feel you could throw a Nerf ball in any direction and hit a real estate agent, and definitely hit somebody that knows a real estate agent in their inner circle or second circle in their family or friends. So there's no shortage of real estate agents in this city. Big factor is, do you like them? Like, you're entrusting them. This is, for most people, the biggest financial transaction that they're going to make in their life, for many, I would imagine. So, like, you got to have someone you trust. So, and by you being yourself, like, this is why, like, I love your, like, flagship video, your pin video on your YouTube. Like, this is why I'm not your realtor. Like, this is why you're not going to pick me. And you just leave it all out on the table. Like you said, like, people know you. Like, there's no room for surprise, and you're building that audience and trust, which I love. Comma, it's the contrary of what 90% of other realtors post, which is very, and I'm just trying to make objective observations. I'm not pinpointing anyone and attacking them personally, but it's very
Hustle
self-serving.
culture. It's very
It's very
hustle culture.
self-serving. Look what I listed. Look at me dressed up on this photo shoot, and there's no real value given. Here you come in. If you're thinking about moving to Charleston, here's the city, here's the whole map, right? These are the hot spots. This is what's happening. Boom, boom, boom. Value, 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 value. This is who I am. Take it or leave it, but I'm going to give you this value. Was that your this value first idea? Was that like what you set out to do, or did that just come out because that's who you are?
No, it's always been very intentional.
Okay.
That when people ask me like my thought process on everything, like you remember when we used to go to the mall back in the day, and you went to the food court, and there was always a Chinese restaurant, and they were handing out like the chicken samples.
Of
You
course.
always take one every single time, and they never or rarely are like, try this, now go buy it. Try this, now go buy it. They just give it to you when you're walking by. And then one day you're hungry for it and you remember they gave it to you. So you just give, and people remember that. People know, even if it's a soft sell, people know when they're being sold to now. There's no hiding it. People even tell me like I don't quote unquote sell in my videos. I let them know who I am, how to get in touch with me, but that's it. I'm not like, hey, I'm the number one agent in the town. I don't do this, blah blah blah. Like I don't do that. I'm like, here's what you came for. Here's the info you're getting, and I mean, people will tell me they're like, your YouTube videos are the best marketing ever. They know exactly what it is, even though it's not a traditional ad, buy this. So people do know that it is marketing. And I do treat it as marketing, but it's always value first. It's always thinking of the viewer. Anytime you write, record, or do any type of content, you have to think about the viewer.
Mm.
What do they want? Not what do you think they want. What do they actually want?
I think when most people are in a short-term transaction game, here's a picture of a house I just listed with my picture in the bottom right-hand corner and my cell phone number. While most people are doing that, you are building brand. You're building the Bill brand. That's everything you just said. Trustworthy, value-driven, and giving. People, that's what sticks with people. Have people, in the industry reached out to you for advice, for like, tell me how you're
Weekly.
doing this, tell me what I need to do. I see that it's working. You 20,000 followers on Instagram. I mean, that's no small feat. So are people hitting you up in the DMs saying what's the secret sauce
Yes. I probably get like 6 DMs a day now
from realtors,
from anybody,
from anybody?
anybody and everybody.
Well, thanks for answering mine.
Yeah, I try and answer all of them unless they're offensive, and then I block you. So you weren't offensive. Most people are actually very nice in the DMs. They're not so nice in the comments, is what I've learned.
Mm.
But yes, I do have a lot of agents that reach out to me. Next week, my really good friend, Jeremy, who's in Austin, Texas, who also does YouTube. Like I'm on his mastermind that's geared towards realtors. And within my brokerage, once a month, I host a YouTube mastermind. I'm a moderator in a YouTube for realtors mastermind that has like 30,000, 40,000 members in it right now. Even with other agents, I'm very giving, and that's also very strategic. With I want to be approachable, and this is all actually comes down to my clients. Like here locally, if an agent's asking me for help, I'm going to find a little bit of time to carve out to help them, because if I've never worked with them before, and I've got a client who wants to write an offer on one of their listings, or I've got a listing and they're bringing the offer. We've never worked together, so we don't have a business relationship per se. But let's say that you're buying a house and we're writing an offer and there's 2 other offers. I've helped that listing agent out. I have that rapport. They're going to go to bat for us to say, hey, he's a good guy. He's going to get this done. I don't want to be the agent that people are afraid of. I want to be the one that's easy to talk to, that's willing to share, because I can't physically do a deal with every single agent in town to build rapport. So let me just help you and answer your questions to build rapport. And in turn, that helps my clients in the long run, because one day you're going to remember, Bill helped me with this. Like he was super nice. He was super helpful. We went out to coffee. He like kind of broke everything down for me. They're going to pass that on to their clients. Say, yeah, he's a good guy. He's a good agent. He knows what he's doing. Like this is a low risk offer.
Mm. That is the punchline, my friends. I really hope a realtor, even just one, hears that and listens. So a lot of, by the way, we're talking about this, 300 videos, 6,500 subscribers. We're talking like it's easy, like it's cake. It's a lot of work,
A lot of blood,
especially
sweat, and tears.
I could talk to you all day, but as someone with ADHD, when it comes time to editing and posting and doing all the logistics behind the scenes, it's torture for me. So like it is hard work, hence why most people don't do it. Um, so let's say Amanda, she's got 650 followers on Instagram. She's trying to get her real estate business going. It's 2025. She's trying to get into content creation. She knows it's important. She's just been posting static pictures of houses and her face and happy Arbor Day posts. Like would you what would you give her to
You've
to
done your
start with?
research. So Instagram's new for me. So we've been talking about YouTube. I've been on YouTube for almost 6 years now, 5 to 6 years. I've been on Instagram for a while. September 1st, so 4 months ago, I had 1,500 followers on Instagram. Yesterday, which was the 8th, January 8th, I hit 20,000. It has been a wild ride, to say the least. I found something that worked. And this is the advice that I give to anyone, not just other realtors, but any entrepreneur, anyone who wants to start content is you have to be passionate about what you're creating content for. If you're creating content just to create content to get an income, the viewer is going to realize that unless you are like an Emmy award-winning actor who can act like they're actually interested, it's probably going to fall flat. For me, I love Charleston. And I found for me what worked was the information that my clients are asking me for we really like this area of West Ashley. What's going on over here? What's happening? So I'm researching to see what's being built. Well, why should I gatekeep that information? So it's like, let me just put it out there. Let me see if people care. Guess what? A lot of them care. And that kind of became my entire Instagram personality. I now post a reel a day on what's happening around Charleston. And, some people that might not excite them, but if you're only making content directly about your industry, sometimes it can fall flat, especially in real estate. There's so many agents out there that, like you said, like, look at this house. Look at this house. I've got friends my friend Roland, he's out in San Francisco area. On TikTok, the only thing he does is he tours houses. He does like 3 to 6 minute TikTok home tours of like interesting homes. Kills it. He found his thing. That was it. But if you're always posting like, now's the best time to buy, it's always a good time to buy. You shouldn't rent. Like, that's what everyone's doing. You need to kind of find your audience. What is your who are you talking to? And my audience happens to be the people that are fed up with not being able to find information because it's all behind a paywall.
Yep. Bingo. I love what you're doing, especially for your niche, because everyone is either interested in the city that they live in, potentially moving, which you targeted, moving to Charleston, check out these videos, or they're maybe upgrading, downgraded, want to know more about the city. It's all value driven, and I love that.
And it's two audiences. Between the audiences do intersect a little bit, but YouTube is people that don't live in Charleston is who I target on that, because they're the ones researching. If you already live here, you're not going to watch a video about the pros and cons of living in West Ashley, pros and cons of Somerville. You already know it. So the YouTube, that avatar is they don't live here. Instagram is very hyper local for me. So that's kind of how I have distinguished the two audiences. They do cross-pollinate because people will find my YouTube channel from Instagram. I had a call yesterday, a couple they'll be here next week to look at houses from Sydney, Australia. And they mentioned both YouTube, and Instagram. So like the reach is mind blowing.
Let's get into that for a second. The ROI, like we get it, like you're giving value to the people, but going back to our hypothetical DI real estate agent, what's the ROI on these videos? I mean, obviously that's huge. That one instance right there.
You know how much it
Outside of the
costs to
state,
post a video?
$0.
Nothing. $0. Do I have a nice camera up here? Yeah. Do I have a nice mic? I do. I think that's my ADHD. Is I like the gear. But guess what? You know where else there's a killer camera? Right here. I know a lot of agents that just crush it on YouTube with their phone. Every single Instagram video that I've posted, I have used this phone. From ones that have 8,000 views to ones that have almost 800,000 views. They've been filmed right here. They've been edited on this. It's in your pocket. Like, you have no excuse anymore. But it's free. The platforms are free. I pay for editing software because of how I do it. I have the editing software that I like. I pay for Canva. But at the end of the day, like, if that's all you had to pay for, and you could make 6 figures, like, the ROI, that number, that stuff might as well be free. Because it's not like spending 50 grand to make 100 grand. You're spending like $300 a year to make 6 figures.
It's more affordable than a print ad.
Yes. What's print? People still read?
So we've been mentioning the Instagram. Build a face to video over a green screen, over happenings locally in Charleston, new developments, new business transactions, restaurants opening, landmarks, cease and desist letters, everything under the sun.
That one was fun.
Let's go there for a second, because we're having a very micro conversation, but I think that in that instance we really get into something even larger, which you have firsthand experience. Give us legacy media versus this new age. We're talking about print ads versus social media.
That was a great segue. Talking about the print ads and then going to this. So
I didn't even plan it, but here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
Give us the quick clip notes on what happened.
All right. So what happened was, I'm going to start this off. I'm going to take full blame for it. I messed up. While doing my research for some of these Instagram videos, which if you haven't seen them, what I do is I have a green screen there's a 3-panel picture behind me that is 3 pictures of a project or development or something happening around the greater Charleston area. I green screen myself into the corner and I talk about it. I grabbed a couple pictures from the Post and Courier website, their newspaper. They did not take too kindly to that and directly sent me, instead of asking me, they sent me a cease and desist right away. I responded, took full blame, said, if I give you full credit for these, can I keep them? They said no, because it's considered for marketing purposes. I could have argued, probably would have lost, whatever. I don't have the time, energy, money, or bandwidth to fight the newspaper. Said, okay, I'm going to go through and take them down. I thought I was going to have to take down like 25 videos. I had to take down 50, which became funnier that it was only 7. And so I owned up to my mistake, and I won't do it again. But I don't want to sound like it gave me a big ego. But when you think about it, like, they felt threatened enough by me to send that letter, as opposed to, a lot of the comments when I posted about that I received it, and I'm not going to talk bad about the Post and Courier, because they do a pretty good job of what they do. They're our newspaper. I only posted about it to let people know that some videos would be disappearing, and this is why, and I owned up to my mistake. People were not so kind in the comments to the Post and Courier, and I lost my train of thought.
Well, they felt threatened. They felt threatened.
So a lot of people reached out and said, the right thing to do for them, or someone else owned that business, would have been to figure out how to collaborate. And I 100% would have taken their money to collaborate. But, it's that, like you said, it's that legacy media versus this new era of information. Everything they do even though it's all public knowledge. None of their stories are like, no one's allowed to talk about this but us. It's behind a paywall.
Oh yeah, sure is.
So, like, there's nothing that says, like, you are never allowed to talk about this in public because this is our story. If you read the headline on a Post and Courier and you can't get to it, go to, like, Count on Two. Go to Channel 5. Like, they're going to have the same story.
It's traditional media.
It's traditional media, but they don't keep it behind a paywall. The newspaper does because they're not getting paid subscriptions for the actual physical newspaper anymore because the building got sold. So they felt threatened, and I think it helped me because it created a villain in my story.
It's
and every great story needs a villain.
Fantastic arc, but I'm gonna provide some counterpoint evidence here.
Uh-huh.
So here's some of the comments. Your audience, it was very evident.
Not me, my audience, so I don't get in trouble.
There's passive audiences, there's metrics, but then, when people take the time in our very busy feeds, and all of our social media feeds have us very figured out what we like. So it's very easy to keep on going and get more and more and more. But people stop, consume your content, and then take the extra mile to comment, which says a lot. So here's some. This is from Dunya Bullet. And this is all on that post we're talking about. Learned way more about Charleston by following you, almost to a point. You are my main source to check out what's happening and up and coming in our community. You're doing a great job explaining in simple terms and making it catchy. Keep up the good work. This is from Kathy Sizer. Thank you for reporting. Thank you for your reporting of local news. I've learned so much from you and hope you continue this wonderful service to our community. And one more from Kay Strawberry. Keep it up. Don't let them get you down. I learned so much from you about the city. It's not just your content, it's your delivery. Your messages are clear, concise, and easy to follow. My focus is on you and the way you deliver the content. So
you picked the nice ones because people were brutal. Not towards me, but on those points, like those commenters, like thank you. Like I get DMs and comments all the time, like that. It's gotten me in some really cool rooms. I was able to sit down with Mayor William Cogswell because of Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that he told me, and Logan McVeigh, who is his chief policy officer, they're great people in the office. They told me that they love what I do because I do not pick sides when I talk about something. I come in, I say, here's what's going on, here's the facts, and then I let people argue about it in the comments because you need engagement.
It's beautiful.
So if I'm talking about, like, we'll use the bridge, the groundbreaking for the West Ashley pedestrian bridge. I very well could have made a post about that and been like, yeah, this is a great bridge, but I think it's hideous. Like, this is a terrible idea. Like, or I mean, like, this is the best thing to ever happen to Charleston is this bridge. I am going to alienate 50% of my audience by saying that. I'll give my opinions on some things. They're not going to be like over the top opinions, but you got your opinions. But I want to present the facts. Let people argue about it in the comments. And I think that's what got me in the mayor's office, is because I stay neutral. I just want to give people the information. I don't want to tell them how to think about the information. And news sources, newspaper, news channels, they all sway one way or the other on the developments. Typically, you have the editorials that way sway on the developments. I never want to be that. I want to be the guy that says, here's what you need to know. Let me know what you think.
Bingo. And, there were some that were there were some negative comments directed at the Post and Courier, as you alluded to. But that doesn't, we could tear down any traditional media all day. That doesn't help anybody. My point for bringing this is to, A, give you some flowers. And, if someone's listening to this that doesn't know who you are, you get a little bit of insight. But B, like, if you're the Post and Courier, like, the writing's on the wall, like, you're going to lose. Like, one by one, influencer or news reporter or content creator, whatever you want to call them, like, they're coming and they're taking market share of attention every single day. So to your point, collaborate, reach out to these people, extend an olive branch, work together. And someone in your shoes probably doesn't want to work for the Post and Courier and have all those restraints with all the freedom you have now, but they're you're getting in the way of the middleman. You've already done it. Like people go to you for their news source in Charleston over going to Post and Courier, whether
And it's
because
not
they
just
trust you or because they don't want to deal with a paywall, whatever the case might be. Like it's happened. It's not going to happen. It's happening. So I don't understand why someone would want to, put you on the other side of the fence and slap your wrist. But that's just my
yeah, I mean
opinion.
it's no, it's 100% correct. And it's not just kind of what I do and the news. It's just about all types of media now. Like we are a very on-demand society to where, I mean, think about the last time you turned the TV on, you're like, the only time where I'm like, I can't wait to watch this show at 7:30 is football, is
Yeah.
golf, is sports. And even then, sometimes I'm like, just start it late and fast forward through the commercials. But look at like going back to the YouTube thing. It is free to post on YouTube. Some YouTubers make an insane amount of money, but anybody can put stuff there and you can watch it any time. So it's all media is going more to that. It's free to consume. YouTube is an ad. I mean, all social media, they serve one purpose. How do they make their money? They serve you ads. The longer you can keep someone on that platform, the more money they make. They typically share that with their creators, which is, I make like $100 a month on YouTube. So don't think that I'm like crushing it. But that's their business model. Their business model is to serve ads. If you can create content that keeps people engaged and watching, and then watching more of your content, that platform gets to deliver them more ads. The longer you keep them on their platform, the more money that company makes. They're going to push your videos more. Look at Mr. Beast.
Yep.
I mean, he consistently keeps people on his videos for the, I mean, he knows he's probably one of the smartest men out there on YouTube. But it costs him $0 to hit publish. Yeah, he spends like a gazillion per video. You don't have to do that, but it costs him $0 to put that video on YouTube.
Mm.
It costs $0 to put something on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, whatever your platform of choice is. That's just where media is going. That's where people are consuming all of their content.
100%. I've lived here for 5 years, and I swear in my neighborhood, I've never walked by and seen a Post and Courier sitting in someone's driveway. But I have seen an ungodly amount of people walking around, staring at their phones, scrolling through their social media feeds. Where are you with AI, Bill? Do you use AI?
I freaking love it. I'm terrified of it just because I think I've watched Terminator too many times. But so I'll tell you my secret sauce. So a lot of the information, I mean, all the information I get that I put on Instagram is public. I mean, there's some stuff people have like fed me and like I get it before it goes out. But Google has Notebook LM. If you've never used it, it's my favorite like secret little tool. I will go to I don't physically go. I'll go to the YouTube channel for all of the city council meetings, paste the transcript of that video. It could be a 3-hour video. Paste it into Google LM, which is a note-taking app, and it will give me an outline of everything that they talked about. It'll tell me like who's at the meeting, when it was. It'll give me an address. So if it's like a design review board or board of architectural review, it'll be like 1, 2, 3 Meeting Street. They want to demolish this. These were the comments. Did they get approval? They didn't get approval. Then I can go and look at the agenda and get pictures. It just breaks it down for me. I love ChatGPT. Of course, Midjourney. If you've never used Midjourney, it's fun to like create images. That's more of just like me playing around on that. But it's wild where it's getting. And I think everyone falls into two camps. I'm one of the people that tells ChatGPT, thank you. I don't know if you are, but I always thank it because like I said, one day they're going to remember that I was polite.
That's amazing. I should start saying thank you. I do say please though. I'm very
I've always thanked Alexa
that's
as well.
that's fantastic. I need to start really remembering to say thank you and you're welcome. To tie a bow on this kind of segment and topic, let's go back to our Jessica in DI. She's a real estate agent. She wants to start. What's one piece of advice or perhaps one mistake you made that you could save someone else doing? If someone's a real estate agent that's gonna start getting serious about making content in 2025.
Consistency trumps all. If you're not consistent, it's never going to work. And I'll give you a couple points. Consistency trumps all. Don't sell. And audio quality is far more important than video quality. Buy a good mic before you buy a good camera. Those are like my 3 tiers of what you need to do. And always bring value. Like always care about your viewer is first and foremost. Care about what they want and what they're looking to consume and give it to them. Give it to them for free.
Bingo.
Don't say, hey, here's my top 5 neighborhoods. Like, call me if you want the list. No, right. Give them the list. Talk about it. Because if you don't, I will.
I love that. There's so much there. Consistency. You said you did 1 reel a day from September to now, and you went from...
Well, I started with like 3 to 4 a week. And then about beginning to mid-November was 1 a day. And ironically, this is kind of a funny thing. My thought process was, if the Post and Courier can put a story on the front page 306 days a year, I can find something to talk about on Instagram 65 days a year. Then I get the cease and desist from them. So it's kind of like a full circle funny story. But like that was, honestly, I was at the gas station and the newspaper was sitting there. It was like a stupid story on the front page. I don't even remember what it was. It was so dumb. I'm like, if they can do that every day, and people will still pick it, they might not buy it, but they'll at least look at the headline, maybe skim it while they're waiting. If they can do that, so why can't I? I can find something to talk about every day. So since I started that, I missed Christmas because I didn't have any. And that was only because I didn't have anything scheduled for that day. And I wasn't going to take time away from my family just to record something to put it up there. So I just skipped the day.
But you didn't put out a traditional...
It was my brokerages. Like it was a little Christmas tree. Merry Christmas. Yeah, because those do fantastic. So if you're trying to compete against me on Instagram, just post static images all day. That is exactly what works. And if you can't tell, I'm being extremely sarcastic for those of you who can't see my face and are listening to this without video.
I'm with you. And for anyone listening that may have been reluctant, this is gold here. This is actually working. It's hard work, but it's if you get into a flow, if you care about your business enough to do the work, because everyone in 2025 that's in real estate, in my opinion, is a real estate agent, brand builder or PR agent or marketing agent for themselves. It is just, that's the world we live in now. Charleston. We haven't talked enough about Charleston. What is it about Charleston that you love, that inspires you to get up every day and do this work?
I love the city. Like it's such a unique city in the geography of the city, the history of the city, the people, the everything. It's, I don't know. I mean, unless you've been here or lived here, like it's just one of some people think the same way about New York. I don't. It's just one of those, it fits me. It's a little more laid back. It's not a huge city, but it's still a city. There's so much to do. I probably get a lot of shit for this, but I kind of like it being a tourist city. I live where people vacation. Most people will be like, oh, tourists, blah. I mean, yeah, they get annoying if you're trying to drive downtown and they walk out in front of your car because they're not looking. They want to look at a church. But if you think about it, I used to bartend in Mount Pleasant and I lived on Johns Island. I was stuck in traffic one day going over the Ravenel Bridge. And I looked out and I was like, hell. I was like, this is my view. Stuck in traffic. It could be a hell of a lot worse.
100%.
Yeah, our traffic's bad, but I have clients coming from LA, Chicago, New York. They're like, this traffic isn't bad. People need to shut up.
Right. I totally get you. My wife and I were talking about that too. It's cool that we like will randomly get a text from some old friends like, "Hey, we're gonna be in Charleston this week. Would love to catch up." Like that didn't happen to us when we lived in Connecticut. Like people, it's a destination. So it's nice to have that and be able to play tour guide. Like that's fun.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Like I love when people come to town and you get to play tourists. I go downtown for work. My family and I, we rarely go downtown. We live on James Island. We live 10 minutes from downtown. We don't go.
Right.
But when people come visit, you're like, oh yeah, let's go do the touristy stuff.
You
Because
got
there's
it.
a lot of touristy stuff. Or we'll go downtown for date night, anniversaries, birthdays, stuff like that, or like aquarium, like stuff for the kids, farmers market occasionally. But it's not just a Saturday, let's go downtown. Let's just go do it. Or like, no, like let's go to the beach or let's go to the park or let's go for a bike ride.
Where I should say what? There's so many new happenings. You report on mostly everything. Is there one project or place or development in particular that you're most excited about coming up?
So yesterday was the groundbreaking for the West Ashley pedestrian bridge, which has been in the works for decades. Price has X'd since they started it. That's how long it's been. But I would say that is one of the biggest projects I'm looking forward to. And the Low Country Low Line, which is going to be again, a project that's been in the works for 20 years that finally is getting some movement. So that'll be the 1.4 mile park that goes kind of down the spine of the peninsula. So it's going to connect East Central, North Morrison, Wagner Terrace down to like Marion Square. It's going to be a 40-acre, 1.4 mile long park. And the Path Foundation is working on that. Mayor Cogswell in the city just brought them in. They did was it the Beltline, or the Beltway in Atlanta, that like 25-mile
Right.
circle park.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's the same people that did that are helping with this now.
Interesting.
Yep. And then that West Ashley Bridge is going to help connect the West Ashley Greenway, and it's going to dump off right downtown. Because for someone who lives on James Island or someone who lives in West Ashley, there is no safe way to walk or bike downtown. I don't even want to drive on some of the bridges to go downtown,
Right.
let alone try and get across the Ashley River Bridge on foot. So I think that's going to be...
Big development.
It's going to be incredible. And it's a cool looking bridge. It's like, a lot of people have said it doesn't fit Charleston because it's a little more futuristic, like modern. But I think it's like I don't want to say like a bridge from the past to the present, but it's just a bad joke. But it kind of is. Like,
We welcome all jokes here.
yeah. And it's going to be right next to the Ashley River Bridge. So like there's that, like everything. But those are probably the two that I'm most excited about because they're needed, but they also help the community. Like there's something, they're going to be free to use. They're going to be there for anyone who wants it.
Thanks for sharing. One last question before we get to our last segment or two. I need you. You're very educated on the geography. You're a scholar. You're a student of Charleston. I need you to,
Never
in
been
your
called a
opinion,
scholar before.
I need you to tell me where I live. Clements Ferry corridor. When we moved here, I had no idea where we lived because my city says Charleston. Kids go to Berkeley County. We're in Berkeley County. We get the Daniel Island newspaper, but we're not in Daniel Island. Some say Wando, Canehoy. Now people are calling it Point Hope. What do you call this area on Clements Ferry Road?
I don't know if I want to answer this because I'll probably get a lot of shit. So yeah, you're up there. A lot of people are just calling, like if you're up by Point Hope, people are just calling that Point Hope. Now, even though Point Hope is just that development, it's kind of what's given that area its identity up there. Because if you say Wando or Canehoy, most people don't know where that is. Wando goes all the way down to Daniel Island. I had a listing on Beresford Creek across from Daniel Island. Tax records said Daniel Island as the address, so that's how I listed it. And I had an agent reach out and yell at me saying, that is not Daniel Island. That is Wando. And I said, well, that's not what it says on the tax record, so I'm not changing it. Because it wasn't part of the master planned community that is Daniel Island.
Yeah,
so I live on James Island. James Island is the same way. City versus county / public service district of James Island. Our friends that live around the corner from us have a different trash day. We're in the same neighborhood. They have a different trash day because we're a city and they're not.
Someone's
In
got
the
to come and
exact
clear
same
all of
neighborhood.
this up.
But we can all put Charleston as our address.
Right.
Island's the same way. There's areas of West Ashley that aren't in the city of Charleston. They're in the county. But your address is still Charleston. It's one of those really weird things about down here. Ladson's not a real town. Ladson's a census district. It's actually Somerville, but it's Ladson. You can put Ladson on your address, or you can put Somerville.
Yeah.
The whole area is like that. It is incredibly confusing.
You have a couple months worth of content just with all these little nuances.
But you live in Point Hope.
I live in Point Hope.
That's
Got it. Thank you.
I mean, you're not putting Point Hope, South Carolina, but that's generally when I hear people talk about it, they just say the Point Hope area right now. That's just kind of what it's become.
Yeah, a lot happening over here.
Huh?
It is everywhere.
And you're getting, here's some inside info. You ready for this?
Let's
You ever been
go.
to Orlando?
Yes.
Down to Orlando, they have a Jeff's Bagel Run is like their big, like bagel. Yeah, you're getting one in like March.
He's got a little sign up.
He has a sign up already? Oh,
yeah.
man. I thought I had some like insider info.
Well,
yeah.
Come here and do a break the pattern of the green screen. Come do the real thing right next to the sign.
Yep. So yeah,
we'll make it.
I just found that out the other day. Too far for me though. I wish it was closer.
Real quick before we get to the last segment, give me. I like to, we talked about negativity in feeds. I like to always ask a guest for something positive. So who is someone in the Charleston community, maybe someone that your real estate world, entrepreneur, business owner, whatever, someone that you would love to call out in a positive way and give some roses to?
Two people that have just been super supportive. Actually, three. So Ed Sutton, who I just met yesterday in person for the first time, who is our state senator up in Columbia for Charleston. Talked to him on DMs. He sent me a letter thanking me for everything that I'm doing. He is just this genuinely nice guy who appreciates things.
Hmm.
And then Deja McMillan and Logan McVeigh, who work for Mayor Cogswell, have been super supportive of what I'm doing as well. Those are kind of like the big ones. There's a lot of people. I mean, like you could start playing the music like in the awards ceremonies. That just so many people that have reached out or been supportive or helped me even before this. Like everyone. I'd like to thank my wife and my kids and.
I cue the music.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's hard to really pinpoint. Those three have just been like super supportive of this, which has kind of made it a wilder ride. I mean, like my content is getting to these people, like these high up people. I got followed by an NFL player, Carlos Dunlap. So he went to Fort Dorchester, played for the Bengals for 10 years, something like that. Like he just followed me the other day. That was really cool. You have kids, right?
Yes.
So you know that, like the Disney Descendants movies. You'll get to them. You'll get to them.
I thought you were gonna drop like some more Charleston Alpha.
No, I am. I am.
The
okay, so the lady that plays the fairy godmother lives on Daniel Island.
Okay.
And I DM'd with her the other day, and I kind of like geeked out. I was like, my daughter's gonna be so jealous that I'm talking to the fairy godmother. And she was very nice. She's like, well, tell her I said hello. It's been like those cool conversations. Just to just the people down the street that are, a faceless account with no posts who will DM me and say, hey, I love what you're doing. Do you know what's going on over here? Can you help me with this? And people asking me if they can help like put streetlights up. I'm like, no, I don't know who to talk to. I'm sorry.
But that's an insight of how much moving and shaking you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And trust people put into you. Like someone actually thinks you have that capability.
Yeah. They're like, who do I need to talk to? I was like, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know how to get a traffic light outside of your neighborhood on Clements Ferry.
That's a whole other ball of wax. Like what if you get into that game of like taking DMs and posting, like, how do we get this done? Yeah. And then people will really, really be in your corner.
Like that. Write that down.
Yeah, there. I feel, I had a sense that all of these things were starting to happen because, if, like, to your point, if you're consistent, like, it doesn't take that long for people to start to notice what you're about and who and what kind of person you are. And that's obviously evident. So thank you for coming on. Thank you for all of the service and value you're providing. It's absolutely amazingly just chock full of value and education, which is good. Like, and it's in small chunks that people can digest and, you know, handle in this crazy world where we're getting just everything and everyone is battling for our attention all the time. So you've been very thoughtful, and I thank you for your time here. Real quick, give before we do our last quick segment, any you want to shout out any handles? Where can we find you? Websites, newsletters? Give it to
Yeah.
us.
So Instagram is at the.bill.olson. On YouTube, if you just search my name or go to like Bill Olson TV is what I call my channel. That's like the handle. But it'll say Bill Olson, Charleston real estate guy on YouTube, and then Instagram's just my name. Those are the easiest places to find me. If you go to my Instagram, there is a link tree if you wanted to subscribe to my newsletter. So my newsletter is kind of what I do on Instagram, but I pick like one or two projects and I just give a little bit more information. And that goes out every Saturday at 9 a.m. So that is a weekly newsletter. So if you want to get that, that's the easiest way to get to that. So I mix in a little bit of like real estate info in there, but the main thing is it is an extension of the Instagram is the newsletter, and then the podcast is going to be an extension of all of that once that gets moving. So we're kind of like building this like media conglomerate, which is crazy. Like,
Yeah,
I'm a media company now too.
you are, and I think we've covered of the feelings that's some of the other media companies are feeling. Thank you so much, Bill. This last segment, it's called Micro Macro Spitfire. I'm going to rattle off a whole bunch of quick questions. You can answer very general yes, no, one word answers in the macro, or you can get out your microscope and elaborate why. But here we go. Micro Macro Spitfire with the media mogul, Bill Olson. Favorite teacher you had growing up and one reason why?
Miss Clark, she was my orchestra conductor from fifth grade through high school. She just passed away a few weeks ago. She was that teacher that my uncle, she was a conductor for him in high school orchestra. She is there forever. She was just very supportive of every one of her students, and probably to the day she died. And from her 30 years of teaching that walked into her house, she would know their name and remember what they played and remember something about them. She was just very caring.
Favorite concert you've ever been to?
Iron Maiden or Slipknot.
Favorite 90s movie?
I don't know. I don't know.
We could skip. Totally fair.
Let's skip that one because I love movies, but like I don't know when they were released.
What's
I
your
could say
favorite
something,
movie?
you'll be like, that was released in like 83.
All right, what's your favorite then?
This was probably the 90s. We're going to go Spaceballs. Spaceballs. Like Star Wars. I mean, come on. Like,
Yeah,
Star Wars is way up there, but we all know
Spaceballs.
that was like 70s, 80s for like the good ones.
Okay,
Like, I love a
that's it.
good, like, the comedies that could never be made today.
Yep.
Like Spaceballs, a lot of those jokes could never fly today. Like anything Mel Brooks did back then. But like that's the humor that I like. Is the ones
Totally.
that would get people canceled today.
Spaceballs is 87. I just looked it up. Definitely
Damn,
nothing
see, I
from the
told
80s could
you.
fly today. Nothing from the
Told you.
90s could. Yeah, you can't. Answer invalid.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, yeah, nothing from the
Ugh.
90s could fly today either. What's your favorite beach
Folly.
in Charleston?
That's where I got married.
What's Give us your favorite underrated or relatively unknown gem to visit. Maybe if someone's coming in, what's something off the beaten path that's super cool that most people don't talk about?
I would go with Chico Feo's pretty cool. I don't get down there enough. Like I know a lot of people do talk about it, but it's kind of like this quirky little place down on Folly. Yeah, I think I'll go with that.
What's your go-to breakfast place in the city?
My kitchen.
Your your
I have kids. I don't get
have
out much.
you have a nice occasion like you alluded to before, anniversary, birthday, or maybe someone coming in from out of town one night for dinner, where are you going?
Probably go to. We would probably hop around. I don't know if I could pick one place. It would probably be like go somewhere for oysters, like kind of stick around like King Street, like do an appetizer somewhere, maybe a dinner somewhere. Always end with the coconut cake at Peninsula Grill. Get drinks somewhere. Like I think that it would just depend on who it was. We
Mm.
try not to eat at the same. We don't get out much, but we try not to eat at the same place twice because we don't get out much. We just had a great meal at Azure downtown just a couple months ago. I mean, Halls is always a winner if you can get in. Some people think it's overrated, but I mean, I think it's great. And
Halls makes
one
you
place I
feel you're
want to
VIP
go,
at
one
Halls.
place I want to go. So if anyone wants to take me there, or go, is it? There's that Speakeasy. I think it's like Scotty doesn't know or something. It's
Heard
like
of that?
behind, like yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's on my like. I would take someone there, because I've never been, and I really want to go.
Maybe that's a real life meetup opportunity for us. In there, we could get a whiskey, favorite whiskey.
Favorite whiskey right now would have to be Michter's 10-year rye.
I love it. Bill, thank you for staying after school. You are a Charleston treasure, and I can't wait to see you grow for 2025 and beyond. You're absolutely crushing it, and appreciate all of the gems that you've dropped today.
I appreciate you having me.
All right, till next time.
All right. Thank you.